Nevada, the great silver state and the gold. New tales of Nevada, the stories, people working hard to make a home. Old tales of Nevada.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Glad to have you this week. We have a great show for you. Do you want to visit a museum? Well, we have 11 of them we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned. We'll have the whole story right after this.
Hi, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall from the Marshall Mint, Virginia City and Reno, Nevada. I'm to introduce you to the Let 'em Run Wild Horse Mustang series, which depicts the wild Mustangs herd running free, mare and its foal, the wild Mustangs fighting for love. These ingots are a limited edition double-struck product on 1 troy ounce 3-pine silver and are only available at the Marshall Mint, Virginia City or Reno, Nevada. Get your piece of history today.
All of us at Shoeman's Custom Cycle are ready to get you and your Harley ready for the road. From oil and tire changes to high-performance engine upgrades and dyno tuning, we at Shoeman's have got you covered with experienced factory-certified mechanics and a full-service machine shop loaded with parts and accessories. Shoeman's Custom Cycle has been serving Northern Nevada since 1988. So ride on down to Shoeman's Custom Cycle at 275 East 4th Street in downtown Reno.
Shoeman's Custom Cycle, we're the biker's bike shop.
Welcome, everybody, to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show. And as usual, next to me is our executive producer and my sidekick, my co-host, Hugh Roy Marshall. Good to have you with us again, Hugh Roy. And our special guest today is Garret Barmore, and he's with the University of Nevada, Reno, where he is the head of list of museums. So welcome to the show, Garret.
Welcome. Yeah, we appreciate it.
He looks like a guy that works with museums, doesn't he?
He does.
Plays the part. Mm-hmm. He even has the fedora.
Definitely plays a role.
So we are going to be talking about museums today, and what we're really going to be surprised about, I think, for most of us who live in Reno, is that there are 11 museums in the campus area of the University of Nevada, Reno. And we want to find out about them and the opportunity to visit those museums. So we're going to do that in just a few minutes, Garret. But we always start the show with you, Roy, because you, Roy, tells us what our mission is here for Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, and what he's doing up on the Comstock and so forth. So we're going to turn it over to you, Roy, for a few minutes.
Johnny O. Well, welcome to another show.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. 277. This is 277.
That's just wonderful. Yeah, we do this show each week to inform people about the great state of Nevada and how central that it was in the formation of the United States of America after the Civil War, when the United States was totally broke. The miners from the Comstock came through with a miraculous donation to Abraham Lincoln of about $7.5 to $8 million, which funded that shortcomings that the U.S. had in getting started. And that's how Nevada became a state. And then we also were the first to produce the dollar in the form of a dollar coin, which was largely made out of silver that came from the Comstock. And in those days, there was no change for the gold money that was already in circulation. So the silver from the Comstock became very important later on as the digital metal of our age, which every little gadget we have has it in it. And
that's for
very
sure.
little of it is worth reclaiming, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Some does. So that's what we try and find every old-timer in the area or community leader or individual who's making a contribution to the area either now or in the past or for a number of years.
Right. Like you always say, everybody brings something to the table, right?
Yep.
We all make a mark on the earth one way or another.
Yeah, you bet you do.
Yeah. Some
We're
more
all important, every one of us.
Every one of us, that's right. Yep. And so we try to find people who are working hard to make Reno and Northern Nevada a great place and bring pride to Nevada.
Definitely.
And living in Nevada. So that's why we're here. Now, you've been doing a lot of work up on the Comstock, doing a lot of drilling, and you keep finding stuff.
Well, yeah, we found that that this large clay deposit, for which we made probably the largest platinum discovery in the United States, is underlain by the continuation of the Big Bonanza ore body, which starts in our ground in the Virginia, for which we have 10 million tons. They're drilled out.
10 million is drilled out.
Now we have almost a mile and a half of ore body that's almost 1,500 feet wide in places.
That's amazing. Yeah, it continues to be the Big Bonanza up there,
It'll
right?
be the elephant of Big Bonanza.
Yeah. Just an amazing place up there.
It really is.
And we've been able to explore that a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And the more he does, the more we find that there's probably that much more gold than ever was discovered before. You know, it's amazing how much is up there.
Yeah.
And
Geologically, it's such a fascinating area because the ores are so different, and some of the materials that we found are really very, very unusual, which we're going to be age dating some of the clay that is stuck in some of these materials to determine when that activity occurred.
Now, you're opening up a new store down here in Reno
Town Mall,
Reno Town Mall, which is coming along a steady pace.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough to get a business license in Reno lately, but you're working through all that minutia, and you'll be opening soon, hopefully April sometime. And then you also have your hotel up there. And
definitely take a romantic trip to Virginia City.
Yeah. What's that number again?
Booze 847-4484.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of things happening in the Marshall family.
There you go.
That's great. It's good to be busy as we get older, right? You're right.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment, right?
Never a dull moment.
Okay. Well, we have a great community that has interest in history, Garret, and we want to welcome you again to the show and taking time out of your busy schedule. As I mentioned in the intro, you are you're the main guy for the museums on the UNR campus and thereabouts, a total of 11 museums. And I was taken back when I heard that number, that there are 11 museums there. And we're going to talk about those here in a moment and how great it would be to visit those museums. But let's hear about you. What's your your history for us to know, and how did you get to UNR?
Yeah, so I grew up in Reno. I graduated from McQueen High School, and then went to UNR for my alma mater, and I had been volunteering and working in museums since I was a young kid.
You had an interest.
But I didn't think that was going to be where I was going to head. So I studied international affairs, history, and archaeology at UNR, and worked as an archaeologist for a little bit.
Great.
And then realized that what I loved most was talking about the objects, was sharing the stories with others. So then I went to the University of Washington and studied museology and how to run museums.
Okay.
And then just so happened to end up back at my alma mater.
Isn't that amazing how that works?
That was great.
I would imagine that there aren't too many people who major in, what do you call it?
Museology. Also known as museum studies.
Yeah. That's kind of a very niche-y field.
Yeah, well, it is, but also there are thousands of museums in the United States. Yeah. And the museum community, we're a professional organization, and with ethics and best practices. And when you think about the kinds of work in museums, it's everything from education to exhibit design to conservation to collections management. And you use many different skills across those different jobs.
Wow.
And so it's a great field to be in, because you never know what you're going to be doing from day to day.
Yeah. So you are known as the head of list of museums at the university.
Well, We are a very kind of loose organization. We're a consortium of the museums on and around the university campus.
Okay.
And a lot of times I'm the guy that goes out and talks about us. But
You're the PR guy, the marketing guy. You do it all, right?
Yeah.
So give them a title. Hey, as long as you get paid, right? That's
and then I'm also the curator at the Keck Museum as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, super,
So,
super.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, the idea of that there is 11 museums on the campus of UNR or thereabouts is just an amazing fact that I didn't know. Did you know that?
Well, you know what that really tells you is that they are really using the museum method of teaching.
Yeah.
Because seeing the article and whatever can mean a whole lot in knowing it. Just like we went from the radio show to
the TV show.
Yeah. We talk about Nevada, but if you know pictures, not too much to look at.
Exactly. So, a surprising fact. Now, who populates that museum? Is it mostly students that go into those museums at this point?
So we have a very large K through 12 presence. So,
you do?
My museum, the Keck Museum, we get about 4,600 K through 12 students through a year.
They do field trips.
They do field trips.
Okay.
And that is our cap.
Okay.
We actually turn schools away in the spring.
Really?
We also have mineral kits that we send out to school groups that can be checked out, but pretty much anybody can check them out.
I see.
And then the planetarium, their numbers are over 10,000 of K through 12.
Yeah, that's a great
So a lot of school groups come through, and then also the general public come through our museum, and but we also, our visitors come from all over the world.
They do.
And we are in different travel guides.
Wow.
So when people visit Reno, they come to the university.
Oh, that's great. So you are marketing it out there. That's good. I was thinking as the show was coming that a lot of people in Reno probably more have not gone to college or been on a college campus than have been on that's just my thought. I might be wrong. But the thought of going on to a college campus is kind of an intimidating adventure, right? Especially at the University of Nevada, Reno, just because of the construction and everything else. Do you find that to be a challenge?
It is a challenge, but many of our museums are open on Saturdays, or at least one Saturday a month.
Okay.
And parking, unless otherwise mentioned on a sign, is free and unregulated on campus on the weekends.
Because that's the problem I have when I go up to, say, the Historical Society. They have some parking there.
Right.
But if it's a busy day, then I'm lost. I don't know where to go. All I see is these different signs.
Right.
You park here, you're going to get a ticket, you're going to get towed.
Right.
All this
it's
kind of
very
stuff.
intimidating. But I would also say the Spirit bus runs up to the university.
Okay.
Which is, I think it's still the free bus that runs in downtown Reno.
Okay.
And so you can take that up for most of the hotels or if you're in the downtown area.
Yeah.
But I would also say that it can feel like you're not welcome on campus. But we're Nevada's land-grant institution. We are a state institution. The entire campus is an arboretum. My museum has been open and free for 110 years.
Amazing. We're going to talk about that.
And we're a community organization. We're here for the community.
Yeah, so it's public space. Anybody can go there as long as you park in the right place. You can peruse and go around and visit almost any building there, I suppose, right? Yeah, that's fabulous. Well, we want to talk about the museums, and we want to start with the Mining Museum, and that's the one that you have a great deal of work with because you're the curator there, because that was kind of like the original museum on campus, wasn't it?
Well, the Historical Society was founded in 1904, and then their building was built in the 1920s right on the corner of Center and 9th.
Okay, good.
But our building was built in 1908 as the main building for the Mackey School of Mines.
Okay, super. Let's take a break here because we want to get in. I don't want to break up the story. So we'll take a break here, and we'll come back on Old Tales of Nevada for a story about the 11 museums available at UNR. So stay tuned. Buy Nevada First Gift Shop and Visitor Center at the Reno Town Mall is the place to buy local Nevada-owned products. There is over 4,000 square feet of unique items to choose from. Art, jewelry, books, music, inventions, clothing, candy, pottery, toys, even Nevada-made wine and more. Why, you can even purchase a gift basket full of Nevada-owned products. Buy Nevada First Gift Shop, located at the Reno Town Mall, 4001 Virginia Street in Reno. Buy local first.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us.
Somewhere in Time is a place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected. High-end die-cast models, vintage and antique furniture, Fenton glassware, kerosene lamps, toy trains, vintage neon, a new home decor selection, brothel and casino memorabilia, jewelry creations, and cameras in large collections throughout the store. Bring the family and find the unexpected that will be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time on Virginia Street in Reno.
Spring arrives at Boutique Elegante. The fabulous colors of spring, all in denim fabrics, but with accents on color, color, color. Of course, sweaters are a must. The newest color block in soft weaves. Influenced by the rainbow, beautiful little dresses, gaucho sets, the blending of fabrics to create caprice sets. Exquisite fashions for your tropical holiday, a special dinner, or the opera. You'll find all of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
We're back here on Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. We're talking with Garret Barmore, who is the head of list of museums at the University of Nevada, Reno. I can't say UNR because they don't want you to say that anymore, do they? It used to be UNR, you know. So, 11 museums. Can I test your memory and can you rattle off?
Well, let's see how good I am.
Go for it.
So there is the Fleischmann Planetarium, the Historical Society, the Wilbur E. May Museum. There is the Shepherd Contemporary Art Gallery. There's the Natural History Museum. There's special collections. There's the Arboretum. There is the Anthropology Museum. There is the Black Rock Press. The they've recently changed their name, but it's the Medical History Museum at the Savant Medical Library.
Yeah.
And then in the past, we've also worked with the College of Engineering's K through 12 lab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so you got it. Very good. Very good. Well, let's start with the one that has the most interest for you, Roy, and actually for us here on the show, and that's the Mackey Museum of Mines. Is that the way you describe it? No, it's actually Keck, isn't it?
So we're the historically, you may remember us being called the Mackey Mines Museum.
Yeah,
and that was our name until about the mid '90s.
Okay,
and then it was changed to the W.M. Keck Earth Science and Mineral Engineering Museum.
Why did they change it?
So the Keck Foundation, and which of course is the foundation of William Keck of Superior Oil fame in California, donated quite a bit of money to the Mackey School to seismically retrofit the building in the late 80s and early 90s. And then to honor that gift, they renamed the museum after the foundation.
Now, does he have a connection to the school otherwise? Or is he...
The foundation's focus is on earth science education.
Oh, okay.
So that's where the connection was.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, go ahead.
Bring up one point. When I came out here in the late 70s and looked for the history of the area and the history of the mines, that the special document division in the back of the library was the place where I found out all kinds of information about the state.
Yeah.
And when I was going to build a hotel with Mr. Fry originally, I studied hotels over there, and boy, there was a lot of hotels. So
really?
That still is a great thing for people to use.
Yeah.
If you're interested in Nevada, you can find out a lot right in the library.
Oh, for sure. And at the Historical
Special
Society.
Documents Division.
Yeah, special documents, absolutely. That's a beautiful building, by the way.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this mining museum. Again, if you go into the You go into the campus there, you find a place to park, and it used to sit by itself sort of over there by the stadium, but now there's a lot of buildings around it.
So when it opened in 1908, that was the north end of campus, which was on the kind of the southern end of the Evans Alfalfa Ranch. Which, as the university grew, they just bought up more of the ranch.
It was a ranch,
and that was the north end of town and the north end of the university. So the university, of course, was founded in 1874, moved to Reno in 1885, and Morrill Hall opened in 86. And there was a lot of, it was kind of built piecemeal, and it was kind of it was a very small, around 300 students around turn of the century, somewhere in there. And then when some high-level members of the state of Nevada approached the Mackey family, Clarence Mackey, John Mackey's son specifically, to commission a statue of John Mackey that would then sit on the Capitol building grounds. But then when it was finished, of course, there's the statue by Gutzen Borglum that's now on campus.
This is the one they show pictured here on your website? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and Gutzen Borglum is, of course, of Mount Rushmore fame.
Okay.
The same artist. And there was politics involved about, well, should we honor an individual on the state grounds? There's back and forth. And President Stubbs of the university stepped up and said, hey, we'll take it. And this started this relationship. And then Clarence wanted to beautify campus because, like I said, it was very piecemeal. So he donated money for the statue, of course, and then also the quad, and then the Mackey Mines building, and then later the Mackey Science Hall.
Yeah, and it's made, it's a brick building, right?
It's brick.
Is it still that original brick?
It's still the original brick.
Yeah, okay.
And then when they retrofit in the late 80s, they re-poured they removed the rubble foundation and re-poured a concrete foundation to actually lift up the entire building.
Oh, okay.
And put a steel structure in the front of the building, and then actually put on seismic isolators so the earth moves around the building in an earthquake.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. So you go in there, and the museum is located as you walk into the building, or do you have to go into the basement? Or
Right. So you walk in, and it's your first left, and then you can't miss it.
Okay.
And we're in our original space. We've always been in that location.
How many square feet do you have there?
I don't know off the top of my head. But we're 3 floors. We have a basement area, which is where the Mackey silver is kept. The main floor, which is our historic rocks and minerals gallery, and then the new part of the museum that was put in the 1920s, and that was actually a Frederick de Longchamp's project.
Oh, wow.
And that's where paleontology and mining history is located.
So what's going to draw me to that museum? Why am I going to take the time to go to that particular museum?
Yeah, so our collection is 140 years old and focuses on rocks and minerals, paleontology, and mining history. We cover the globe, but we really focus on Nevada.
Okay.
And some of the things that people really like to see is we have a 3 million year old mastodon wrist.
Really?
We have a mine cage that's from the Con Virginia, and I'm pretty sure they built the mezzanine around.
Wow.
And then we have, of course, the John and Mary Louise Mackey silver collection, which is the 5th largest Tiffany's of New York set ever made.
Really, very valuable
collection. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I've not been to the building, inside the building. I've been parking around it for years, but not at the building. So that's quite the collection. How many pieces is it?
Of the Tiffany's?
Yeah, the Tiffany.
We have about 50 to 60 pieces, about 58 pieces. The original set had over 1,200 pieces.
1,200 pieces. And Mr. Mackey and the family used that for?
Yeah, so it was finished in the late 1870s.
Okay.
And actually before the Mackeys took ownership of it, Tiffany's displayed it at the Paris exposition.
Really? So quite a history.
Yeah, and then the Mackeys used it daily.
Yeah.
All the way up. And then it was handed down through the family in the 1950s. John W. Mackey, the grandson of John W. Mackey, donated this part of the service to the university.
That's just amazing, huh?
I've been kind of wondering about the university's history as to when did Reno burn down?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
They changed all the buildings to brick after that.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe that's why all the buildings out there were brick.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, there was nothing. I remember having a show on the UNR campus in the original. It was just sitting up on a bare hill. It was probably windy in those days. So anything they built up there had to be pretty substantial.
What do they call it? Providence Hill or Prospect Hill?
They used to refer to the university as the University on the Hill. I'm not entirely sure what the name of the hill is,
I think it's
actually.
Providence.
Yeah,
Providence Hill?
Neil Cobb told us about that
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting history of the university there. So, free admission to all of these museums,
Not
right?
all of them.
Oh, okay.
So the planetarium, for example, their galleries are free to the public.
Okay.
But their shows are charged.
Okay.
And the Historical Society has admission, and so does the May Museum.
Okay.
The Shepherd Contemporary Art Gallery is free. The Anthropology Museum is free, but you should call ahead.
Okay.
Because they are run by graduate students. So
I see. So
it
it's not
changes
open all
semester
the
to
time.
semester.
Yeah.
Depending on the students.
Yeah. So now when I go to the mining museum, is there somebody to walk me around and tell me what's significant and what the history is of a particular item, some of your major displays, or is it self-guided? Or
So I'm the only professional employee. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah.
I get it too.
Do you have a lot of docents working with you? A lot of volunteers?
We have a couple volunteers, and we have a couple student workers.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of them are more focused on the collections.
Okay.
And because when you have a collection that's 140 years old, there's a lot of catch up to do.
Yeah, a lot of catch
up. So we don't necessarily have somebody in the space that can tour you around. However, we do offer tours. And just if you call ahead, we'd be more than happy to set something up.
Yeah. Now it's set up sort of like Uroy's museum room here, right? They have the display cases and all of these precious metals from around the world, especially Nevada.
Yeah.
But there's something very special about those display cases, right?
Yeah.
Tell us.
So, like I said, the museum has been in that location since 1908, and it was created as a research museum. And because of that, we still are using the original red oak cases.
Isn't that amazing?
And for good and for bad, we're still storing objects in the same way for 110 years.
Yeah.
And going back to what you're talking about, using the museum style of education, that's why we were founded.
Yeah.
And travel was difficult, so you can't sit. And at that point, the collection had a world scope. They wanted to train world-class mining engineers, so they brought the world to
all kinds of precious metals, huh?
Yeah, and we have an amazing collection of Keweenaw Peninsula native copper, which was kind of the exciting find around that time. And what's so cool about our museum is things were bought new, or they were bought or new exhibit, and then they were removed or whatever. Now they themselves are history objects.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Recently came across a 1930s exhibit on metallurgy, and it had it has aluminum ice cream wrappers from the 1930s to show what things were used for. A brand new Gillette safety razor. Yeah, just neat things like that.
Yeah, so it just goes on and on. Is there more? One large room, or is it? Is it broken up into different sections?
So we have one main gallery and then a mezzanine above it.
Okay.
And then down in the basement is about a 2-gallery area, and in May we're opening up a new document research center.
Oh, super.
We'll have historic documents in open storage.
Oh, great.
And,
so that's your real passion, is that mining museum, I can tell, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now, what would be the next most interesting museum of the 11, do you think, for the public?
Well, I'm not necessarily going to rank them. It really depends on what your interests are.
Yeah.
I mean, the planetarium is great for people interested in planetary science and space and outer space. And they have some amazing things, and they do amazing programs. The Natural History Museum is very cool because it is their collection goes back to the 1870s.
Wow.
And it's a collection of all of these objects taken from many different departments at the university.
They have really a great meteorite as you walk.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that meteorite. That's great. Well, listen, before we get too far into one of these other museums, let's take another break here, okay?
Sounds good.
And we'll catch our breath, and we'll be back with more Old Tales of Nevada right after this break.
Spring arrives at Boutique Elegante. The fabulous colors of spring, all in denim fabrics, but with accents on color, color, color. Of course, sweaters are a must. The newest color block in soft weaves. Influenced by the rainbow, beautiful little dresses, gaucho sets, the blending of fabrics to create caprice sets. Exquisite fashions for your tropical holiday, a special dinner, or the opera. You'll find all of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Hi, I'm Chris from Past Time at Somewhere in Time. Are you looking for that one-of-a-kind gift that you can't find in the big department store? I have something for all occasions. Got stuff? Need to know whether or not it has value or how to sell it? We can help with that too. Come and see me Tuesday or Wednesday at Past Time in Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street in Reno. Just ask for Chris.
Deluxe Travel, locally owned and operating since 1991, is the home for travel to Mexico and Central and South America. The crew at Deluxe Travel is bilingual, trustworthy, thorough, and caring. They will do everything possible to make your dream vacation the best it can be. Now is the time to book for winter travel, so stop by the office at 100 California Avenue or call 686-7000. You can also check us out on our website at deluxetravelLTD.com.
At Deluxe Travel, we sell dreams. Come in and plan yours.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us.
Hi, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall from the Marshall Mint, Virginia City and Reno, Nevada. Come to introduce you to the Let 'em Run Wild Horse Mustang series. Which depicts the Wild Mustangs herd running free, the mare and its foal, the Wild Mustangs fighting for love. These ingots are a limited edition double-struck product on 1 troy ounce 3-pine silver and are only available at the Marshall Mint, Virginia City or Reno, Nevada. Get your piece of history today.
Welcome back to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Just to remind everybody who we are, I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show, and with me, our executive producer, Hugh Roy Marshall. Our special guest today is Garret Barrymore. Not Barrymore, Barmore.
Barmore, yeah.
I've been thinking about that all morning. It reminds me of Barrymore. You got the look of a Barrymore. And he's the head of lists for the museums up there at UNR campus. You know what we want to do, besides just talking about this, and we'll have our B-roll, of course, to show what we're talking about today, but we'd like to go up and do an actual walkthrough at that mining museum. If that would be okay, if we could schedule that sometime in the near future.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, you could be our guest or our host. So now let's talk about that Natural History Museum. That, you know, when I was a kid, I went to New York City because I lived in Jersey, right? So we had a field trip to the Natural Museum in New York City, and that was an amazing thing. I think that's what spurred my interest in history, actually. And what's your museum like there? What kind of things are we going to find at the Natural History Museum at UNR?
What's so cool about the Natural History Museum is they really focus on Nevada, but there's active research coming out. So when you go to the Natural History Museum, you may run into UNR scientists working in the collection. And natural history museums are very important to research. And research comes out of most of the museums at UNR. But do you remember a number of years ago when it was determined that pesticides impact birds' eggs and it can make the shells brittle? How they determined that is they looked at a Natural History Museum collection of eggs that spanned over 100 years. They were able to go back 100 years and look at these eggs and actually measure the shell width and determine that they were getting more brittle. And so
they did that at the university?
Not at the university, but it really shows the kind of research that can come out of these museums.
Yeah, what's the current research that's being done?
So there's a lot of botanical research that's happening. They have what's called a great herbarium, which is a collection of plants. And it's over 100 years old. And so they're really able to, in Nevada, is not really well documented. It's plants from a scientific perspective. And so they're doing a lot of documentation and updating the scientific record of Nevada's plants.
You think we're a desert, you know, what plants people ask, right? But there is a lot of plant life of various kinds here in Nevada.
And new species of animals are being discovered in Nevada, of like fish and
Yeah. So we could walk in there, and we would see the university scientist actually at work there?
In the back.
In the back?
Yeah.
And you have access to see that, or what?
Well, it just kind of happens around you.
Wow.
They have a front gallery area, and then the storage area, which is not open to the public, but when you go on tours, they take you back there a lot of times on special events, which I think we'll talk about a little later.
Yeah.
You can go back there, and they actually have animals that you can interact with, a lot of snakes and those sort of things.
Oh, really? My favorite thing.
They even have some live animals in the collection, like some fish.
No kidding.
And there's another museum that's associated with UNR that's not on campus that focus on butterflies and insects and bugs in Nevada.
Right. So no matter what your interest, you're going to find a museum over there with some kind of display that's going to, really, satisfy your curiosity. So when you get these collections, how do you get them? I mean, is that just by archaeologists out there in the field in Nevada find something special and they bring it in there? Is that kind of the focal point of
that's a very good
archaeologists?
It really depends on the museum. So the more scientific museums, like my museum, the Anthropology Museum, etc., there might be field work involved. So the Anthropology Museum, whenever a UNR archaeologist collects something in the field, it ends up in the museum. So a lot of field work. That's how my museum operated for about the first 60 or 70 years or so. We don't do a lot of field work now, but a lot of thesis collections are donated. Individuals donate to us. Even a lot of children will donate some of the objects to us.
So if Roy had something here or up in his collection up on the Comstock, like the platinum or some of these new discoveries he's getting into, he could donate that to you, and you could display it at the museum.
Right, and we don't always display things that are donated to us.
It has to be special.
Not necessarily special. Exhibits are very slow to develop, and it can take 3 to 6 months to develop an exhibit for one case.
Wow.
And so that's why we have such a large collection reserve.
Yeah.
Also, we are a research institution, so we might collect something that's important for research that might be difficult to display.
Yeah.
But other museums, like the Shepherd Contemporary Art Gallery, a lot of art is donated to them. A lot of times they may purchase some art, or they may even commission art.
Really?
And they're a really cool museum to
I would
check
imagine.
out. Yeah.
They have some very special pieces there.
Yes.
What are they, Nevada artists, or are they world-renowned artists? What kind?
They have artists from all over the world.
No kidding.
And they're actually building a new building right now. So there's going to be a new art museum on campus.
So like Picasso and Rembrandt's, does it go that deep?
It does go that deep.
Wow.
And they have some of the old artists and old masters, but then they also are collecting contemporary art, and they're really trying to expand their women artists collection.
So those three: the mining, the natural history, the art museum, outstanding places to visit. Let's talk about the planetarium too.
Yes,
because the planetarium, I've never gone. I mean, I've been there to talk to the manager of that museum.
Dan Ruby.
Excellent guest. He was on our show too. But I was in there and I saw that meteorite. I mean, that's not a little piece. That's the thing you're talking about.
That was found in Ward Canyon down in Tonopah.
Really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. They didn't know that. In Tonopah, really?
Yeah, Ward Canyon.
So if you've never seen a meteorite, the planetarium, and then they have the telescope, right? Right there. Now, how did that get on campus? What was the deal on that?
So the planetarium? Yeah. So the planetarium actually opened. Let's see. I think it was 1964. It just celebrated its 50th. It might have been 65 or 66, but it was right in there. Mid 1960s.
Okay.
And it was originally called the Fleischmann Planetarium and Atmospherium, and the idea was to teach planetary science and also atmospheric sciences.
Okay.
But it kind of quickly pivoted more towards the planetary sciences.
Yeah. It has a neat roof on it that turns around and opens up or whatever.
I heard some of the students used to try to climb on the roof. roof.
Well, there's a picture of a
on the roof.
there's a picture of a Jeep on top of
A
the
Jeep,
roof.
that's what it was, yeah. I remember something about that. Yeah, but they have those shows with the stars,
Yes.
right? You can go in there and it's narrated and everything.
Yeah.
And you can...
It's popular today.
It's very popular,
Yeah.
So Mr. Fleshman brought that, right? And
Well, he was one of the donors,
He was one of the donors. And he's a big donor to the university. Now, was he one of those millionaires that came here in the 30s or something?
Yeah, he was part of the One Sound State. And
One
Fleischmann as in Fleischmann yeast.
Yeah.
And
okay. There you go.
he donated quite a bit to the university. There's Sarah Fleischmann Building, there's Fleischmann Ag, there's Fleischmann Planetarium.
Yeah.
About 30s into the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. Did he attend the university himself, or he just was?
Believe
he
so.
came here because of that One Sound State.
One Sound State, and I believe, and that was along with Wilbur D. May. That's how he came as well.
Right, Wilbur May, and he, where Double Diamond is now, that's Wilbur May's ranch.
Yes.
Yeah, I lived there for 17 years, by the way. So, but that's just great. Now. We've been talking about these museums, and I don't want to fail to mention that you do have a special event coming up on April 22nd, right?
May 5th.
Oh, May 5th.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're updating the website now.
Oh, okay. So
May
it's
5th.
May 5th.
Yes.
And it's called A Day at the Museum.
Day at the Museum, yeah.
But it's a day at 11 museums if you can get that far.
Well, not all 11 will be open this year, but many of them will be, or at least have a presence.
Okay, is this the first time you've done something like this?
No, this is I believe, our fourth time.
Oh, fourth time. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it growing in stature every time?
It is growing, yeah. We had over 500 people last year.
Oh, really?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But, we have, how many people live in Reno, in Sparks? 350,000, maybe? More?
Not in Sparks, but in total.
Total, yeah, in Northern Nevada area. So you could use more than 500 people out there. Well, I find, again, it's, for me, it was kind of a secret that you had 11 museums there. I knew about the Mining Museum, the Planetarium, and the Historical Society, but the rest, no idea. So what is going to be the setup there? The museums will be open?
The museums will be open. Most of them will have hands-on activities and special programming.
Okay.
And you'll receive a map. And in the past, we've had food trucks and other type things.
Food trucks, there you go.
Yeah. And the Wilbur D. May Museum is also part of it, so it's a good place to start. Yeah. And then you can make your way to campus.
Yeah, we did a show at the Wilbur May Museum, and that's a fabulous piece.
That's a great museum.
Wow.
Yeah.
All his personal stuff is there, and he was quite the collector, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
at
was.
the Wilbur May.
Yeah.
So free parking.
Yeah, free parking.
How about that? Yeah. And you're going to have people out there to kind of help people get to the different locations.
And you'll receive a map. And at each location you can ask for directions.
Yeah, because there's a plethora of buildings on that campus. Now, it's amazing how many buildings you can put in one spot.
Oh, yeah.
How many acres does that university set on now?
I don't know, but it goes from 9th to McCarran.
Yeah. Does it take up pretty much the original ranch and now probably beyond?
Beyond,
right?
Yeah.
It was Alfalfa Ranch. That's hard to believe.
And the ranch house sat on right off of Evans Street on what is now the Evans Park. Yeah, that was
the ranch house is still there.
Well, no, it's long gone.
That's
gone.
That's where it was.
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's great. Yeah, your imagination runs crazy when somebody tells you that that's where the original house was.
Yeah.
You can't go by that corner without remembering that.
Right.
Like the Lake Mansion.
Yeah. There's so much.
Have a plaque there and tell people what was there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's great. So we're running out of time here in our third segment, but it's so exciting, to understand that the university wants the general public to come in and especially if they have an interest in history, to come on in and just soak it all in.
Yeah.
You could spend a whole summer with your family, doing one a week or whatever, because kids are always looking for something to do in the summertime.
Yeah.
Do you have summer programs too?
We do have summer programming. We're open year round.
Oh, you are? Okay.
We're only closed for state holidays.
Okay, super. Let's break here. We'll be back with more Old Tales in Nevada after this.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
Buy Nevada First Gift Shop and Visitor Center at the Reno Town Mall is the place to buy local Nevada-owned products. There is over 4,000 square feet of unique items to choose from. Art, jewelry, books, music, inventions, clothing, candy, pottery, toys, even Nevada-made wine and more. Why, you can even purchase a gift basket full of Nevada-owned products. Buy Nevada First Gift Shop, located at the Reno Town Mall, 4001 Virginia Street in Reno. Buy local first. Somewhere in Time is a place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected. High-end die-cast models, vintage and antique furniture, Fenton glassware, kerosene lamps, toy trains, vintage neon, a new home decor selection, brothel and casino memorabilia, jewelry creations, and cameras in large collections throughout the store. Bring the family and find the unexpected that will be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time on Virginia Street in Reno.
All of us at Shoeman's Custom Cycle are ready to get you and your Harley ready for the road. From oil and tire changes to high-performance engine upgrades and dyno tuning, we at Shoeman's have got you covered with experienced factory-certified mechanics and a full-service machine shop loaded with parts and accessories. Shoeman's Custom Cycle has been serving Northern Nevada since 1988. So ride on down to Shoeman's Custom Cycle at 275 East 4th Street in downtown Reno.
Shoeman's Custom Cycle with a biker's bike shop.
Deluxe Travel, locally owned and operating since 1991, is the home for travel to Mexico and Central and South America. The crew at Deluxe Travel is bilingual, trustworthy, thorough, and caring. They will do everything possible to make your dream vacation the best it can be. Now is the time to book for winter travel, so stop by the office at 100 California Avenue or call 686-7000. You can also check us out on our website at deluxetravelLTD.com.
At Deluxe Travel, we sell dreams. Come in and plan yours.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you. You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds.
We're back here for our last segment of Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, talking with Garret Barmore. Man, having a tough time with that today. Anyway, great stories about the museums over there at the University of Nevada, Reno. 11 different sites that you can go to and open to the public most of the time and get a great education about the history of Nevada right there in different aspects of the history of Nevada. So please take advantage of the special event coming up on May 5th at the university. And what are the hours for that special event?
So that's going to be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And should people call to make a reservation? Or?
Oh, you just show up.
Just show up. Yeah. So there'll be the museums, there'll be food trucks, and plus you get a chance to walk around the campus. And what's really neat about walking around the campus is the different kinds of vegetation that has been planted there, right? That's kind of a museum in itself.
Well, the campus itself is a state arboretum, and the state arboretum on their website has walking tours and talks about the big trees that are on campus. It's an actual designation, and some of the unusual trees. We just about a year or so ago, north of the new Pennington Student Achievement Center, we just planted monkey puzzle trees, which are really cool.
And you can get those to grow up here, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Now, around the quad, is that the quad they call that big open space? Okay. I'm not a college student from that area, so I don't know much about the campus myself, but I've been on that area. So what are those trees that surround it there?
Those are elm trees. Oh, those trees are over 100 years old.
Really?
They were planted back in 1908.
Yeah.
And there are many different species of elm trees, and you
Really?
can still find American elm trees on campus that survived the Dutch elm disease in the 1920s.
Really? Yeah, because the Dutch elm disease, I was going to say, that devastated a lot of the elm trees, not only here, but other places, right? It was a kind of a United States problem.
Right, yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So do they have plaques and things as you walk around campus so you can identify what you're looking at?
They do. You can also, on their website, print off information that you can walk around with, or they even have audio tours that you can listen to.
That's unbelievable. See, all these resources are there, and people really don't take advantage of it. Again, because of the reasons we mentioned earlier, maybe a little intimidation.
A lot of that's been our fault.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do a better job of being open, being accessible, letting people know that we're there, and parking's a major problem. And if you have any issues getting to us, please give us a call, and we'll try to make that work.
And you have a website. What's your website?
So there's unr.edu/museums.
Okay.
And that's the website for all the museums on campus, and there's links to all of our individual websites.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and a phone number. Do you have a phone number they can call too, that they don't have to sit on hold for 15 minutes?
So you can call my direct line, which is 775-784-4528.
Okay, we'll have that on the screen as well. So, no, that's really great. Well, you've been at it for how long over there now?
Well, I have been in my position. It'll be 5 years this year.
5 years, yeah. And you're only 29 years old.
Yes.
So you get a lot on the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people 25 years old are running departments at the university? Do you find that though? Is there a youth movement over there at the university?
Yeah, we're a lot of us running museums are relatively young, and many of us grew up here in Nevada.
That's super. Yeah. Now the funding for like your department and things like that. Is it state funded? I guess it's state funded in the sense that it's the educational funding that comes down to you, right? Do you get a plenty of funding for that particular?
Well, we receive some funding from the Mackey School, but most of our funding comes from charitable donations.
Oh, charitable donations! No kidding. Yeah. Wow. Now, when the football team is playing in basketball, by the way, basketball. Huh? Yeah. How about? Well, hopefully by this show, when this show airs, we've already won the NCAA.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They're back from. We've already done the ticker tape parade downtown. But do you get money from those sports teams as well? Is there some inflow from that?
Not directly, but of course, we benefit from UNR facilities and things like that.
Yeah. Do you have to pay rent for your museums or anything like that?
No.
Yeah. That makes a comfortable situation.
Well, the Historical Society is actually part of the state system.
Yes.
So I think they pay $1 a year to the university for their space.
Yeah, that's quite a building too, because of the storage areas they have. Fabulous museum there. We've done a show on there, and we're good friends with the Historical Society.
Yeah, great people.
Yeah, great people, and like I say, we archive our shows there. So. Everybody, it seems like there's a renaissance of interest in history for Nevada, and people want to know about the history of Nevada because I think we have so many new people, right? Coming to Nevada for different reasons. You probably run into them at the university a lot, like the Tesla folks and that kind of industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you want to do, when many people do when they're traveling, they go to a place, is they go to a museum because they want to know where they are.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we had a lot of people through the museum that didn't grow up here and want to find out more about their state.
Yeah, we find that a lot of our viewers are viewers because of that very reason.
Yeah.
We have one of our assistants, Virginia Couch, who moved to Reno not too long ago, who watches the show to find out the roots of why is Reno here?
Right. Yeah.
Because it was a big support to the things on the Comstock, So, what's your next big endeavor after the May 5th?
Well, around the same time, our new document research lab will be opening up at the Keck Museum.
Okay.
And also a new building will be opening up for the Art Museum, which will be happening, I think, by the end of the year. And there's just always something happening on campus.
Yeah.
And so on that website, we have a recurring event feed for all of our different things.
Yeah. Now, do you work well with the museums outside of the campus, like the Art Museum downtown? Is there a partnership there, or do you find yourself in competition?
We work very closely with the Discovery Museum, the Nevada State Museum, and other museums in the area. And as museums, we don't really think about competition.
Oh, you're working together.
Because when you think about it, each museum is so different that we don't really compete with each other. In fact, most of our school groups that come, and we can have a group of 100, 150 kids in one day come to the museum.
That many.
But I don't like to give tours for more than 35 kids at a time because you can't really engage with them. So what we do is we switch between the Historical Society, the Planetarium, the Nevada Seismological Laboratory. And so they'll spend some time there and then some time with us. So these school groups are starting at the Planetarium, they're going to the Historical Society, they're going to the Keck Museum, walking all the way across campus, all on the same day.
What kind of response do you get from the kids?
Well, I've got a drawer in my office filled with homemade thank you notes and letters, and it's really great.
Yeah, well, you've probably been there long enough to see maybe some youngins coming in and getting the seed planted about history.
Yes.
And have you ever followed up on some of those kids as to what they've done once they've seen and been exposed to history?
We haven't. We do currently have a 16-year-old volunteer who's really interested in trilobites, so he's going through our trilobite collection and writing a report for me about what localities do we have or don't we have. But you make a very good point about museums in general, where the museums educate. But in my opinion, when I'm designing an exhibit, the purpose of a museum is people aren't going to leave with a degree. I have a short time with them and a certain amount of words, so my goal is to inspire them to want to learn more on their own.
There you go. That's what I was thinking, to be inspired. Like when I went to the Natural History Museum and saw that huge dinosaur out there when you're walking. And I said, wow, I didn't know things were that old.
Right.
And the mummies, the Egyptian mummies and all that kind of thing. So I really got interested. And I like American history now, and I like European history. I like to hear of all that. And Nevada history now is one of my passions. So, So are you interested in any volunteers outside of the university helping you out?
Yeah, so we do have a volunteer program. We're always looking for volunteers. Also, outside the university, we have opportunities for student volunteer programs, for internships and that sort of thing as well.
Oh, internships, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to be a student to be an intern, or?
Well, that makes it easier.
Yeah.
But we're really willing to. If you're in the INSHE program or INSHE system, so TMCC, UNR, it's fairly simple. A high school student, we'd work with your school.
Oh, okay. Because we had somebody just ask me about being an intern, for example, at Channel 8 or one of the other stations, and do you have to be a student to be an intern? Not necessarily, do you? You can be an individual who wants to do something at a particular industry or a museum.
Well, a lot of times internship implies that you're getting some sort of school credit.
Oh, okay.
And so then you would need to be attached with a school of some sort.
Okay.
But we're always looking for volunteers. If you just want to come and volunteer.
Absolutely. Learn a lot and then maybe get into the industry from there.
Yeah.
Right? There you go. So if a person wants to be a docent, are there background checks because you're working around students and things like that?
There are some background checks.
Yeah.
And but what we usually do is you contact me for the Keck Museum. If you're interested in any of the other museums, you go to the website and you contact them directly.
Okay.
And then we usually have a meeting. It's almost kind of like an interview, and to kind of talk about what you're interested in and how we can help each other.
Oh, that's super. Okay. So we want to encourage people to do that. Okay. More than 500. We want more than 500. Yeah. Let's show people what you look like with that fedora on there.
My Homburg.
You give me that Sherlock Holmes look there. How about that?
Looks good.
All right. Very good. Very good. So listen, you got a great guy here to work with. So if you want to volunteer, if you want to visit, give Garret a call. We already have your number, so we'll have that on the screen. And get involved in the University of Nevada, Reno. They really want the public to become more familiar and more friendly with the university setting up there and take advantage of all the resources that are there. Right, Garret?
Yes.
All right. So for all of the community out there, we thank you for taking the time to be with us and exposing this to us, because we surely didn't know about all the great museums there. And we want to thank the audience for being with us today, and thank you, Roy, for being our executive producer and funding the show, and invite you back next week for another episode of Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. In the meantime, what do we want to wish people? We want them to have a great Nevada day. See you next week.